Hey, welcome to Draft for Upside. I am Brewery Mark. That is Danger Cole.
Happy Turkey Day, my friend. Almost there.
Almost there. Get to watch my Lions get destroyed by a backup quarterback.
It's possible. I thought Carolina would whoop them, but they held together. They do the lioness of lioness things, don't they?
They do. They do.
You think they're going to lose, they squeak one out. You think they're going to win, they get destroyed.
Yeah, it's completely opposite of the Jim Caldwell era, where they
Yeah.
just did exactly what they were supposed to do.
Yep. Highly entertaining. So it'll be interesting. Luckily for me, we've got Atlanta versus New Orleans tomorrow as well. So I'll be anxiously awaiting that game.
Yeah, it's DFS heaven on Thanksgiving, man. It's so fun. But we'll go into that in a minute.
Yeah.
So how'd you do last week?
Well, a mixed bag with DFS. My main slate stuff got wiped out, but my Sunday through Monday stuff went crazy because I loaded up that Monday night game. How much fun was that?
That was a crazy ass game.
It really was. I saw the interview afterwards with Mahomes, and he said basically, we got beat, but I wouldn't trade my guys for anything. I mean, their offense was incredible. If it weren't for a fumble return for a touchdown and a pick six, I mean, their offense was actually more effective than the Rams' offense. It was very fun to watch.
Yeah, I'm kicking myself on the showdown slate. I I only won like $5 because I didn't play the Rams defense. I almost put the Rams defense in.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just like, oh,
Right? How do you
that
give
would
up
have.
60 points but still score because of the two defensive touchdowns?
Yeah, and then, well, okay. So how do you have an NFL game with 106 points or whatever it was,
Uh-huh.
and Todd Gurley doesn't get any points?
Right? Yeah, Gurley and Hunt really were non-factors.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was interesting. So that brings me up to something I was gonna bring up. So most of my leagues, unless you're in dynasty or keepers, most of the trading is done for. The deadline has passed. But if you're a Gurley owner, I trade him during his bye week. Try to get like a Melvin Gordon, something for him, because one, he's not playing this week, so you get points you weren't going to get. I have a feeling they might sit this dude in week 16 and 17.
I don't know.
He got a little banged up this week, and they are going to have a clear-cut run to win the division and probably a bye week by week 14. Already locked up. I think they play him sparingly in 15, 16, and 17, and maybe not at all.
Well, it's an interesting theory. I have trouble in season long, um, trading away the player who got me there.
Yeah, but here's the thing. Like I said, he's on a bye. Let's say he's on a bye, and I say, "Hey, Mark, I'll give you Melvin Gordon and Alshon Jeffrey for him."
I don't know. I'd have a tough time trading them.
Yeah,
I really
I don't
would.
know. I don't know. Depends on where you're at in the league. If you're in first place comfortably, if you've got his backup, I don't, man. I think if I had the ability to trade him right now, I would. This week 12 bye kills you, and if the competition doesn't win this week, especially, and they've got a 3-4 game lead, why risk hurting the guy? He might come out and play the first quarter of the next 4 weeks and be done.
Yeah, but other than Indianapolis that one year
Mm-hmm.
where they rested the whole team, the NFL really doesn't rest players that much.
No, I get that, but he got a little banged up and sat out some plays, and it's part of the reason why he wasn't in the game all that much is because they were a little cautious with him. And frankly, the team doesn't need him. Scary enough, right?
Yeah. Well, they'll need him against a good secondary.
Yeah, quite possibly. So, but it's an interesting theory to talk about.
Yeah.
I'd be interested in to see what happens out there. I only have a couple of leagues that are dynasty leagues that I participate in. So, who knows? Just curious. So going back through last week, I'll just kind of do a quick recap. Things I thought was interesting. The first game, Dallas at Atlanta. I mean, Zeke has been pretty much Gurley the last few weeks. What's up with this guy? He's been absolutely tearing it up. I mean, he's always had the yardage, right? Getting 20 plus carries, 100 yards a game is easy. Dude caught 7 balls for 79 on top of 23 rushes for 122 yards and a touch. That's 29. Yeah, Zeke Elliott, man. I mean, he's just been on fire. Hit 23 rushes, 122 yards and a touchdown, but 7 catches for 79 yards on 8 targets. The guy's looking like Gurley out there. And going back to that conversation just a second ago, looking at his stats recently, looking at the fight they're going to have to get into the playoffs, looking at how well he's done, would you take would you take Zeke Elliott straight up for Gurley?
No, no, Dallas just isn't that good. I mean, Linehan pulled his head out of his ass and started using him the correct way.
I don't know. I think we're going to revisit this about 4 weeks from now, and I'm going to be right that it was time to trade Gurley.
Well, you are much better at season long than I am.
Yeah, season long. I got Mahomes in the 2 leagues I lost, and I won the other 4. I went in with either a small lead or barely even, and I was going to get like the one league I had. I was going against Mahomes, and I had Cooks and Zerline. Like I just didn't have enough firepower to keep up.
Right.
So that game was crazy. So if Cooks would have caught 3 touchdowns, I probably still would have won, but that wasn't going to happen.
No, that was the other amazing thing about that game is how well everything was spread around.
No, it's crazy. Yeah, absolutely. Everybody got a piece, except for Hunt and Gurley. Everybody else got a piece. The other, being that it's waiver wire Wednesday, and we say that knowing that most casual fans are Tuesday waiver wires because that's ESPN and Yahoo's default setting. But if you're playing in the higher dollar championship leagues that are out there, typically Wednesday's the waiver wire. And there's a gentleman that came out to play named Gus Edwards. I was talking to you a little briefly online, and you hadn't really even heard much about him. So Gus Edwards this is what happened. So they decided that Lamar Jackson was going to start because of the hip issues with Flacco, and Jackson and Edwards were substitute package players to run basically the read option in like Wildcat style offense. So with Jackson in, they took advantage of that. So Jackson only threw for 150 yards and didn't throw a touchdown, but he ran 26 times for 119 yards, and it was basically read option all day long with Gus Edwards getting 17 carries, 115 yards, and a touchdown. Just the strangest change of play for Baltimore, losing Flacco and going to a mobile quarterback situation. If you didn't watch the game, Mark, I highly recommend at least looking up the highlights or to go back and watch the game because it was really entertaining to watch that Baltimore kind of zone run, zone option offense. It was really fun to watch.
Yeah, I had my best DFS lineup actually had Jackson as the quarterback. So
mm-hmm. Highly entertaining. So that was a fun game. One of the other things that I picked pretty well was Indianapolis. You and I were pretty high on luck going into that game, 38-10. That was a really nice game for Indy.
And TY finally came through for me.
Yeah, TY 2 touchdowns, 155 yards. The running game was fine. They got a couple of touchdowns, but nothing spectacular. The Tampa Bay Giants game, man. So Fitz gets benched again.
Yeah, I think he's done for the season. I mean, they already said they're starting Winston this week. Mm-hmm. So I think they'll just ride him out for the rest of the year. I mean, you got to see if the guy's worth keeping next year.
Absolutely. So this game won me some money, though, Mark, because the one lineup that I did do well in DFS with, I played a mini stack with Manning, Barkley, and Beckham, and basically that was the entire offense. So Barkley got 142 for 2 touchdowns. Beckham got 74 yards for a touchdown. Eli only threw for 231, but still threw 2 touchdowns. And it was kind of a sneaky stack. Nobody was really playing because everybody hates Eli in that offense, no matter who the defense is.
Yeah, I had a couple of Eli lineups that did pretty good for me.
Yeah, we talked about that a little bit on our show, how I was kind of a fan of the Eli just because Tampa Bay is terrible, obviously. Did you see the broken leg?
Yeah. I saw it right when it happened, and then I could never watch it after that. It was so gross.
I didn't see it. I do remember the Theismann leg break. I think we actually posted that on our Facebook page as a picture for an injury report earlier this year. But, my bad. I apologize, people. Yeah, that's gruesome. I don't know. They might be better off with their backup. You know, I'm sorry for Alex Smith, but I'm not a fan. And, that team might be better off without him. So it'll be interesting to see how that turns out.
Well, they were winning the division with him, so
Mm,
he wasn't making mistakes, and that's why
no.
you have Alex Smith.
Yeah, that's all he does though is not make mistakes. So, the other side of that game, man, this is what really screwed me this time. So I tinkered, Mark.
You got to stop that.
I know, but
You
I'm
do it
riding
all
in
the time.
I know, I hate it. I'm riding in the car Sunday, and I'm listening to the radio, and they're talking about how Demaryius Thomas is going to be matched up because of injury in the Washington backfield or the Washington cornerbacks, a 7th round draft pick rookie. And I was like, nom, 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 nom. It was like 4,800 or something on DraftKings. It was dirt cheap, going up against a first-time starter, 7th round rookie. You know how many catches Demaryius Thomas had?
0.
Do you know how many targets Demaryius Thomas had?
0.
What the hell?
I know.
That cracked me up, man. Luckily, I did have Kiki Kuti starting in most of my season-long leagues because I've been holding on to him, waiting for him to get back with the Will Fuller injury. So, you know, he went 5 for 77. But I can't believe Demaryius Thomas got 0 catches on 0 targets going against a first-time starter 7th-round rookie.
Yeah, I couldn't believe it either. I had him in a couple of lineups. It was just crazy.
Yeah. Now, I didn't watch the game, so, you know, it's hard to say how much he actually lined up against that guy unless you're watching the game or checking the stats afterwards. But you know, just the reasoning going into picking him, I think, was sound. It's just, you know, one of those things. Football will get you every now and then.
Yes, it will.
Yeah, indeed.
Yeah, so I want to go here. Here's my the core of my cash lineup, and you tell me how I lost all these games.
Mm-hmm.
Mark Ingram, Saquon Barkley, Kenny Galladay, T.Y. Hilton,
Yep.
Corey Davis, Zach Ertz.
Well, Davis did nothing. Ertz did nothing.
Well,
that didn't help you.
Those first 4,
amazing.
28 points was the fewest out of those first 4, and then so I had Carson Wentz and Zach Ertz on this lineup.
Sure. Yeah, I had a lot of Wentz.
Who would have thought Wentz was only going to be 3.8 points?
156 yards, no touchdowns, 3 interceptions.
That is just crazy.
Zach Ertz only targeted 3 times.
Couldn't believe it.
3 times. So this really, I am terrified of the Saints when Ingram is playing well and you know they're doing well on the outside with their cornerbacks. They are a terrifying team, an absolutely terrifying team, and they're going to have home field advantage. It looks like straight through to the championship game.
Yeah, I actually think the Saints are the best team in football.
Yeah, they're crazy good. They're crazy good. I think the Rams have the possibility of having a better defense, but for some reason, their defense is just not holding up. Now, their cornerbacks were injured. They're not deep, obviously, trying to do the receivers, but their defensive line is so good. If they can get a little bit of play out of their defensive backs, they're terrifying as well. But yeah, man, I think New Orleans can go toe-to-toe with them. Definitely.
Absolutely. Well, New Orleans already beat them.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. So I think New Orleans is going to get home field advantage all the way to the NFC Championship game, and you know I have a hard time picking a team that can beat them as long as they stay healthy. I mean they're struggling at wide receiver, but Traquan Smith broke out hugely. And if you've been listening to the show, my absolute favorite players in I don't know 3, 4, 5 weeks ago. I mean who have I been begging you to pick up, Mark? I've been begging you DJ Moore and Traquan Smith.
Yep. Well,
and DJ Moore tore it up.
I had a whole bunch of more this week because Lions. You play everybody you can against Lions.
That is right. But I mean, I wrote an article in like week 5 about DJ Moore saying he would become the #1 receiver, and to look at the schedule that dude had for the rest of the year. He's got the easiest receiver for or schedule for a receiver for the rest of the year.
Yeah, if Cam can get on the ball.
Too late now, though. He was picked up everywhere if he wasn't already picked up after 170 yards or whatever he put up. So, yeah, I have him on, I think, 100% of my teams, all 6 of my year-long teams. I have him. So I did drop Traquan Smith in 1 or 2 of my leagues. I had him in all the leagues, but with the 0 targets the week before last, I dropped him. I cycled him. So we'll see what happens over there, though. But I don't know. The last game I want to talk about from the last week, I was really shocked by the Minnesota and Chicago game. I realized Chicago was at home, and I realized their defense is awesome, but I really thought Minnesota's offense was just humming along and ready to rock. And I'm really shocked that that game went the way that it went.
I wasn't overly surprised just because it was outdoors.
Mm-hmm.
And
the Vikings have a strange history not being able to play outdoors. You think that they would be much better at that?
Yeah, and I understand why they built a dome being in Minnesota, because it'd probably be a nightmare to maintain the games and the weather they have. But
sure, but can't they practice outside? You know, they got a practice field outside.
Yeah, I mean, the Lions practiced outside in the snow, and they played in the dome the next week.
Yep, that's what they do. Yeah, but it'll be interesting. I'm really looking forward to that game without Trubisky. It's the only reason why I think the Lions actually have a chance. So it's be interesting. So I think that defense is just too scary. It's too good. So I still think Chicago wins, but it'll be an interesting game.
Well, with that, why don't we roll into the Thanksgiving slate? And let's start here with the injuries. So as you mentioned, Trubisky is doubtful, which means the Lions will go against Chase Daniel in the early game.
Mm-hmm.
It looks like Darius Slay and Marvin Jones are also sitting, and Kerryon Johnson's out. So
yeah, it's going to be an interesting game. I think this game lends itself to defenses, and I think Chicago's is better. So even though it's Chase Daniels, he's still a professional quarterback. He's what, 35, 36 years old, something like that. But he's still around for a reason. He should be able to manage this game. I think Chicago's defense will lock it up.
Yeah, I think this is going to be. I think the Lions' offense is going to be completely shut down. They're
Oh, you don't believe in Zach Zenner?
No, I do not, and I don't believe in LeGarrette Blount either. And Chicago's too good. They'll zone and double coverage Galladay and just take him out. And so you're stuck with throwing to TJ Jones.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so this is a game where if kickers were still available in DFS, I'd play Prater.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. Yeah, I'm not a fan of this game. I'm not touching it with a 37.5-foot pole.
I'm gonna put one Chicago stack in because the Lions are notorious for letting backup quarterbacks light them up.
Yeah, definitely. That'd be interesting to see. So, I think it's going to be a very low-scoring game. I just don't see a whole lot of value here. I could see like a 21-17 going on. I don't know that they'll even cover the spread. They're at like 43. I think the over-under. I think they'll go under.
Yeah, I think it's going to be an under. I'm thinking this is going to be a 24-9 or something like that.
Yeah, it's going to be pretty sad.
It's going to be ugly. I'm not going to be pausing the game as I make the turkey. So
no, I don't think so. I think I'm taking the under on the 43.5, and I think I'll take Chicago to cover the 2.5.
Yeah. All right. And then the next game is Washington at Dallas. And again, Washington without Alex Smith is going to start Colt McCoy.
Mm-hmm.
That's going to be a fun Thanksgiving slate with all these backup quarterbacks.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see who else is out here. Trent Williams is out. Adrian Peterson, we were down on him last week, but he showed up. That's all the significant injuries.
Yeah, this game kind of bores me too. I think it's going to be Zeke Elliott and nothing else.
Yeah, I think so too. Man, this is like the worst Thanksgiving slate in years.
Yeah, well, I mean, maybe as an overall, but I'm super excited for the late night game.
Right. Well, yeah, since they added that late night game, I mean, oh, yeah. Any other comments about the Redskins Cowboys?
I mean, no, I don't have much trust in Daniels, and I I don't know, man. It's going to be kind of an ugly game. I think Dallas has kind of turned it on a little bit, and I wouldn't surprise me to see this game be dominant by the Dallas run game. I might see Zeke Elliott do another 150, another Gurley impersonation with 150 yards rushing and another 50, 60 yards catching. I don't trust anybody else on that team at all. I don't have any faith in Cooper. I don't have any faith in Dak, but I think that Zeke Elliott runs the ball, and I think they can score at least 3 touchdowns. I think you could see a 24, 28, 27, somewhere in there from Dallas, and like maybe a 10 spot out of Washington. I think I take the under on this, and I think I take Dallas to cover.
Yeah, so the over under is 40 and a half. I think I would take the under also. Cowboys are favored by 7. Being a divisional game, I might take Washington in the spread.
Nah. I think Dallas has got they're seeing red right now, my friend. I mean, they're seeing Alex Smith go down. They're seeing Philadelphia lose. They're seeing the Giants just suck. I think they are seeing the waters part for them here, and they're going to make a push for the playoffs. And this is a chance to make a statement.
Well, I hope you're right because I plan on playing a lot of Zeke.
Yeah.
All right, now for the big game. Thursday night, Atlanta at New Orleans. And we know New Orleans, we just talked about, could be the best team in football. Breeze is on fire. The running backs are on fire. Michael Thomas is on fire. Significant injuries. It doesn't look like there's any. Calvin Ridley was limited at the beginning of the week, but it looks like he's going to play. Yeah, and that's it for injuries. So we have an over under of 60. So Vegas is looking for a shootout. However, they have the Saints favored by 12 and a half.
Yep.
That is huge. Now, the question I have for you, Kamara or which running back to play?
I mean, if you're playing DFS, it's still Ingram for me. He's $2,000 cheaper. I mean, they're giving them no love. I mean, they're Ingram is 6,100 on DFS and Kamara is 8,300, and they're both capable of about the same scoring. I just don't know how you don't play Ingram.
Yeah, my only minor argument there is Atlanta is the worst team against pass catching running backs.
Yeah, but I don't think they're going to need to throw the ball to the running back. Ingram, the last 2 games, has scored 28.2 and 25.3 versus Kamara's 26.2 and 17.8. They're interchangeable to me either way, and Ingram is $2,200 cheaper.
Yeah, no, that's why I played Ingram this week.
All right.
And then
I think you play Thomas and Ingram together, and you forget about Kamara. That's what I do.
Yeah, that's a good comment. That's what I did last week, and it worked out great.
Mm-hmm. And if you can fit Breeze in there to go with them, even better. But that's asking a lot.
Yeah, it can be done.
It can be done. It absolutely can be done. So, just out of curiosity, which defense are you going to try to suck into your 3-game slate there?
I think I'm going to go with the Cowboys.
And the Cowboys are actually $300 more expensive than the Bears, but they are at home, and they're playing against a backup quarterback. I could go either way.
Yeah, for me, it's kind of a coin toss between the Bears and the Cowboys.
Mm-hmm.
So it'll come down to how much salary I have left.
Certainly.
Now, the fun thing is, I love the Thanksgiving slate for DFS because you have not the main slate, but you do have a Thursday through Monday slate you can play.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have a Thursday only slate you can play. And they're
Mm-hmm.
doing all kinds of crazy little contests. And they did a captain showdown for each individual game.
Yeah, I saw that. That was cool.
That is awesome.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have a lot of money to put into it, but I'm gonna have a lot of lineups. I love the
Mm-hmm.
showdowns, even though I'm not all that successful with them.
They're really crapshooty, but they're very entertaining.
Yeah, they're so fun to play, and it's you're always rolling the dice because you always have to get that one player that nobody's really expecting to do anything in order to
Mm-hmm.
win any money.
Mm-hmm.
So oh, how you feel about this? Who's going to be your quarterback on the 3-game slate?
Well, I mean, if I can afford it, it's Breeze. I just can't walk away from him. But I like Matt Ryan too, although they completely shut down Philly last week. But I just don't see them being able to do that as well against Atlanta. I actually like Atlanta's offense more than Philly's. But if you're not going to play Ryan or Breeze at the top end, I mean, I'm probably go ahead and take a chance on Chase Daniels. Detroit without Slay and without their running game, they're just going to have a lot of time of possession, I think. So, I mean, it's worth a shot.
Yeah, I will probably have one flyer out there with Chase Daniel, but yeah, I'm going to try to make my main lineup with Breeze.
Absolutely.
And now, are you going to play a showdown in each one?
I probably will. I'll have to take a look at that a little bit later. Right now, I'm just focused on getting this 3-game slate in. The problem is I'm trying to find these bargain guys, and that's been the real issues. I kind of like Josh Doxson. I think Washington's going to have to end up throwing the ball um, with Colt McCoy there. I mean,
Yeah, I don't like Doxson at all, man.
he's their red zone guy. So I'm just trying to find somebody at that $4,000 or lower. I guess you could take a look at Taylor Gabriel playing against the Lions.
Yeah, he seems to be the well, no, it's
Robinson's been more the top player, but I do like Gabriel more.
Tariq Cohen is everybody's favorite pick in that game right now.
Mm-hmm. Which is why I'm probably going to stay away from it.
Yeah, more and more I listen to the people on Sirius XM, and I'm pretty much focused in now on 2 shows, and which is Pro Football Focus and Roto Grinders.
For sure.
And a little bit of Fantasy Alarm. I do like Howard Bender. But for the most part, every show, including the ones I mentioned, they get focused in on this one player and they just promote it for the entire week. And then, it's like I complain about you tweaking your lineups, right? Tell you not to, but for some reason that Sirius XM, because every show's been saying it, gets in your head, and then you get down there and you're within $100 of that salary, and that guy they've been talking about all week sitting there, and it never works out.
Right. Or if it does, he's, the 3,700 guy that's 28% owned.
Right. So I've like I said, I've pretty much shut down my listening of fantasy, and I'm doing better. Last week I made money.
Well, check this lineup real quick, and you can pick any quarterback you want, but with the budget left literally to pick any running back, I can fit Zeke Elliott, Mark Ingram, Michael Thomas, Mohamed Sanu, Taylor Gabriel, Trey Burton, Theo Riddick, and the Bears DN.
That's a pretty damn good lineup.
Yeah, I enjoy it. I think it's fun. So I think Mohamed Sanu is going to be hugely targeted this week in the game. He's my guy this week. He's been banged up a little bit. He's come back healthy. I think New Orleans with Lattimore is gonna absolutely bottle up Julio Jones, who's been having an absolutely great month. And I think the guy that's going to get free is Mohamed Sanu.
That could be. And Calvin Ridley seems to be hobbled a little bit.
He does, and honestly, if you go back and look at games when Sanu's healthy and getting targets, Ridley's really not a factor anyways. And Sanu's healthy and ready to rock, and Lattimore is going to have to cover Julio Jones. So I think he's open, and I think he's the guy.
That sounds like a plan to me. I like
Uh,
it.
yeah, that's my guy. I think you got to get a wide receiver in against the Lions because they're terrible. So if you can fit Allen Robinson in, great. He's the most expensive at like, I don't know, was it 52 or something? But you got him or Miller or Gabriel. Pick the one that you can fit in your lineup. You got to get one of the guys against Detroit, though.
Oh yeah, absolutely. You have to have somebody against Detroit.
Yeah, and I'm a pretty big fan of Trey Burton in this situation as well.
Yeah, well, I played that 2 weeks ago when they played, and he didn't do anything.
He did not, he didn't. Well, he did all right. He got 10 points.
Yeah.
He got 10. That's not terrible.
Well, the Lions are middle of the pack against tight ends this year.
Sure.
I think they actually focused on that a little bit. Now they're
Right.
terrible. They're terrible against the run, but
See,
of course Jordan
the
Howard didn't do anything against them either. So
this is true. This is true. So the issue is actually, the only tight ends on the Thursday that are worth playing at all is Reed, Hooper, or Burton, and they're 47, 42, and 4,000.
yeah,
Literally nobody else there. You could try Watson, but he's been a complete non-factor in that New Orleans offense. And he's had 2 good games. Everything else, he's been 6 points or under. And there's literally nobody else. Luke Wilson, Rico Gathers. I mean, there's nobody else there. So you got to make room for one of those guys. So I like Burton, Hooper, or Reed. I mean, I like them all. They're all fine. So Hooper's probably my favorite, but I'm having a hard time fitting him in there with all the other guys I want to get in.
yeah,
Unless I want to take, Breeze out and put Matt Ryan in and pair up Matt Ryan with Sanu and Gabriel, but which could be fine as well. But it's just Breeze is going to be money in this game. He's also probably going to be 88% owned.
How much is New Orleans tight end?
Just looking there. Sorry, Watson is 32.
Yeah, I might punt the tight end and take Watson. I mean, even at 32, if he can get me 5-6 points, I'm okay.
Here's the thing: is 3 of his last 4 games, he's gotten 0.0 points and 1.1 points.
Yeah.
So punting is huge with that guy. Of course, he's also sprinkled in a 15-pointer and a 16-pointer in the last 5 games. I don't know.
I just have to see how my lineups come out, but it might let me upgrade a receiver somewhere. You know what I mean?
Sure. It might. But,
Or get me up to that Bears defense.
Mm-hmm. Well, if you drop down from Trey Burton or one of those top guys, and you drop down to Ben Watson in the lineup that I have put in here, it allows you to come off Taylor Gabriel and work your way up to Anthony Miller if you like him more. They're both kind of the same guy to me.
Yeah.
I think Gabriel's getting more looks, but Miller's doing more with his catches. Yeah, but Taylor Gabriel got 9 targets last week, 7 catches, 52 yards. Looked pretty good for under 4,000.
Yeah, it's just hard to predict which receiver is going to do the best against the Lions.
True story.
I guess it'll all depend if Slay is actually out or not.
Mm-hmm. I don't really like Riddick, but I think he's the possibility of being the best offensive player for them for the week.
Yeah, they don't have a slot receiver, and Ellington did a admirable job last week, but he's hurt now too.
For sure. Well, I've been kind of off beer for the month, so I'm sorry I don't have much beer to talk about. I know you're in the same shape, so wish we could talk more about beer. I went down to Fobab last weekend.
Yeah. Well, did you have any beer there?
I did. You can't go to Festival of Barrel Aged Beers as a barrel aged beer lover and not drink some beers. So I definitely did that. So we went down there and entered our 2 beers, and we didn't win, but we had a really good time. It's put on by the Illinois Craft Brewers Guild, and it was absolutely spectacular event. And basically, you had to pay for the competition. As you do for a lot of these things, because they get judges in and they do all kinds of stuff. But besides that, there was no booth fee. There was no, we got free tickets for beverages and food, and everything was taken care of. So they treated the brewers really well because they wanted you to come down there and enjoy the experience. And it was just an absolutely fabulous event. I love Chicago. It was a good time down there.
Yeah, it sounds like fun. I'm gonna have to go to that next year.
Yeah, it's extremely overcrowded. That's my only complaint is that they overbook it for the space. So
Yeah, it's like GABF.
yeah,
It's a nightmare.
yeah, absolutely. It was shoulder to shoulder pretty much the whole time. But there's 400 beers there, so even though there is lines, they go very quickly. Unless you
Yep.
want to sit in line with 50 people for vanilla rye Goose Island Bourbon County, which I guess is fine. But there was so much beer there that was comparable or better that you didn't have to wait for.
All right, exactly.
That was crazy. So, well, I gotta get back to the vacation time with the kids here, buddy. But hopefully, I can squeeze out a little time to chat with you on maybe Saturday for the Sunday slate.
Yeah, that sounds great. So you have a great Thanksgiving, and I'll text you as my lineups are kicking your lineups ass.
Yeah, let's get some. That's something that we haven't been doing in the last month or so is feeding off each other. So maybe we got to get back to throwing some ideas back and forth,
Oh
and
hell yeah.
hollering at our draft for upside chat room that we've kind of got unofficially going. So
Yeah, that'd be cool. All right.
I love it, and also I'm getting excited for this Legend Sports Network, man.
Oh yeah, I can't wait. It sucks we had to wait 2 weeks, but it's going to be awesome. So next Thursday at 7, we will be broadcasting live off the Legend Sports Network.
Did I tell you I can't do that? I'm
yeah,
just messing with you. I'm just messing with you.
yeah.
My bad. Now, the Legend Sport Network is going to be fun. Lenny Melnick and friends. It's going to be a lot of entertaining stuff, and uh, we're going to bring I'mABeerHound.com with us just for funsies, right?
Absolutely.
Also, shout out to Scott Newman-Bale sucking at football.
I know. I love you guys' little back and forth on Facebook.
Yeah, we've been having fun.
Right. But anyway, so we're Draft for Upside. We're sponsored by I'mABeerHound.com. Join us again on Saturday and next week on the Legend Sports Network. So this is Brewery Mark, and that's Danger Cole signing off. We will talk to you later.